Hello and welcome to the latest podcast. I'm your host, JP John Paz. With me today, of course, the former WWF and WCW head writer, former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Vince Russo. Vince, how you doing?
What is going on, my friend John? How's everything going with you?
Not too bad. Can't complain. Pretty crappy day today. I still thought we were in May. We're getting cold weather. You're over there freezing your ass off in
Yeah, I
Colorado.
know, John, because usually, John, like I'm a Jeep guy and I really, really enjoy my Jeep. And I get so excited because May 1st is the date that I take the soft top off my roof and I go all summer without a top. And my God, bro, like we're into what, May 10th already? And I can't take it off because it's been too damn cold.
Yeah, crazy. It should be getting nice and warm. But as far as today and today's topic at hand, it's a WWF Backlash 1999 from April 25th, Providence, Rhode Island, Providence Civic Center, 11,000 in attendance, 400,000 on the buy rate. So pretty damn good. And this is obviously coming off of WrestleMania 15, which was very successful. Austin versus The Rock main event there. This will be a rematch, Austin versus The Rock again. And obviously here in 1999, you guys are kicking WCW's ass.
Yeah. And bro, here's the funny thing, man. And they can't do this anymore today. Like bro, I used to get asked so many times, like, people would say, like, I was giving a match away on television, and why wouldn't I save it? And my answer would always be, bro, you could always make a main event a main event. I don't care how many times guys have wrestled, as long as you've got story there, bro. They're always going to want to see a match. And that's why we did Rock in Austin before. But if the story is right, bro, you can do it again and make the people want to see it, bro. It's no different than freaking boxing. I mean, what did we have? 3 Ali Fraziers? I mean, rematches, were a big thing in boxing. But like today, my God, bro, it's hard enough for them to care about that first match between two guys, let alone if you want to come back and have a rematch. But man, as long as there are stories involved, man, there's always going to be different consequences, and you can book the same match over.
And to me, Austin Rock, obviously, that's just an easy go-to matchup. You do it a million times, and people still
Mhm.
be into two top guys of the era. There's no doubt about it. And you raise the stakes. With obviously the Smoke and Skull belt gets thrown off the bridge. We'll get into it, but I mean, you raise the stakes. You made the match even more interesting, and then you add Shane McMahon as the referee. So then there's a little bit more intrigue as well. So I mean, you raise the stakes for sure.
Right. No, absolutely, man. But again, this is just, to me, this is just a lot of the stuff that's missing today, man.
As far as like raising the stakes, making it more important.
Yeah, yeah. Like I didn't even realize, bro. I was doing my show with Dr. Chris from Sportskeeda last night. Bro, I didn't even realize the winner of King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring, they don't get anything. What is the point? Like, not, you don't even get a title match. I mean, bro, first of all, obviously the WWE is having a hard enough time booking Cody Rhodes. And we saw that where right after, bro, he wins the belt, they didn't have a heel ready. They weren't building a heel. So what did you have, bro? You had two throwaway three-mans, and the winner of those three-mans face each other. Then he's got AJ Styles, and everybody knows after finishing the story for a year, AJ's not going to beat him. Like, it was the most predictable thing, but they're having a hard enough time creating, opponents for Cody Rhodes. This is a gimme. The winner of King of the Ring. The winner of King of the Ring gets a shot, but I can't believe you are having all these qualifying King of the Ring tournament matches on Raw, and the winner doesn't get anything. Like, he gets a crown and he gets to do this. I don't understand their logic sometimes whatsoever, man.
So that's obviously WrestleMania Backlash this year. This 1999 Backlash was actually the first Backlash. So the first time you guys went to the well there for Backlash. Obviously, they've been doing it ever since. with Cody, and this year obviously they went to France, and they're obviously doing different markets. Here at WWF, I feel like almost 99, you guys didn't capitalize as much as you could have on international markets and stadium shows. Was that something that just was a miss, or something Vince didn't
Yeah.
think of, or
I
what?
don't know, John, because that was out of my wheelhouse. Like I had nothing to do with that. So whatever those discussions were on top, like I wasn't privy to any of that stuff. And I kind of agree with you, bro, because I never was a part of any stadium shows. And now obviously, bro, they make a shitload of money and good for them, and they've got it down to a science. But yeah, bro, they may have had a late jump on the stadiums, bro. I agree with you 1000%.
Think about it. Stone Cold, those tickets were like sold out before you even like turned your back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're
Yep.
just like, wait a second, it's sold out. Crap, I'm gonna have to get it on the secondary market, or you have to go to a house show or something before that to get the ticket. So imagine how many people were clamoring to see Austin at
Yeah.
that point. Man, they would have been able to sell out big stadiums
Yeah.
whenever they wanted.
Yeah. Maybe, bro, maybe they, because keep in mind, prior, WCW for 83 weeks was doing a number on us. So maybe they weren't prepared for the turnaround and the success. Maybe they just weren't prepared for that. But man, I agree with you. I mean, that's one thing, bro, I missed out on my career are those stadium shows. I would have loved to be a part of at least one of them.
Yeah, it's crazy because obviously it's not as popular now. They're making more money, but it's not as popular as, let's say, the Attitude Era. So imagine how many fans you would have been able to get in there, and it would have been nuts. It would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it would have been nuts, bro. I remember the biggest show, bro. This is a funny story, but the biggest show I think they had when I was there was the show at the Alamo, the San
Royal,
Antonio,
Royal Rumble '97.
the Royal Rumble 97. And John, I didn't even go to that show. No, I don't
Wow.
think it was Roy. Was that the one with Sean and his manager?
Jose Lothario and,
Yeah,
and
that was
Psycho
it.
Sid. Yep.
That was it. Yeah, bro, I didn't even go to that. I don't know if I was sick or I don't know what the case was, but I did not even go to that show. And that was the biggest, audience my whole time with the WWE.
Why didn't you go?
I don't know, but I must have been sick. It was something, man. But I know I didn't go because after I missed that one, like I remember Shane coming up to me and said, "Bro, you are never, ever, ever missing a pay-per-view again." Like that's why I remember it so vividly.
Why did he say that? He didn't want you not missing it?
Yeah, it was I was starting to get more involved and we were starting to, make me, get some momentum, and that's when he said it to me. Yeah.
So
Somebody had
here,
a picture online the other day, John. I don't know if you saw this or not, but freaking Shane was sitting in the bleacher seats at
oh,
Yankee Stadium.
yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. I thought that was cool. Yeah.
Very cool, but I can't understand why is Shane sitting in the bleachers. He's freaking Shane McMahon, bro. Like you can't. I was able to get like 10th row Rocky seats yesterday, and I'm freaking Vince Russo. I can't.
Yeah.
Why is Shane in the bleachers, bro?
I have a feeling that's like a Yankee fan thing because
You
so many
think so?
fans like they want to sit in the
Yeah, yeah,
bleachers.
yeah. Like Wrigley,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
the
yeah,
bleacher creatures and how just how
yeah,
crazy they are in the bleachers
yeah,
and stuff to get like that atmosphere. I know there's some like diehard Yankee fans that are like that. I even know some of them that are like,
yeah,
oh, I want to sit on the bleachers, I want to sit out,
yeah.
right field or whatever. Yeah.
It's funny, bro, because the McMahons, when I worked with them, bro, they talked so little about professional sports. Like I don't even know if Shane is a Yankee fan. I mean, they never talk, bro. The only time I swear to God that I ever had a sports conversation with either Vince or Shane, and you know me, bro. I'm a big sports fan like you. You know me. I
Yep.
swear to God, bro, the only time I remember them ever bringing up any sport, bro, was the Maguire Sosa home run chase. Shane was into that. Shane used to always talk to me about that. But outside of that, bro, they never talked about having a favorite team or looking forward to a big game. Man, they weren't into it. So, man, I'd really like to know if Shane is a big Yankee fan. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I have no idea. That would be cool to find
Yeah.
out if he. obviously probably more into sports than Vince was. Vince,
I
I don't
bro,
even know.
I remember, man, I'll never forget this. The Giants were in the playoffs, bro, and they had a big playoff game against the Miami Marlins before the Marlins traded everybody, bro. Remember, the Marlins
Yeah.
used to be really good, and there
Yep.
was a big game, and it was a day game, and it was on one of our creative meetings. And I was like, F this, bro. I'm watching the game. And I remember, bro, like I had to ask Vince if we can move creative. And it was so difficult for me because I knew, bro, he didn't give a shit about sports.
Yeah.
Like he was going to have no idea what I was talking about, how important this game was to me. But man, I asked him, bro. I said, "Listen, man, I'm sorry, bro. I really want to, watch this game. Can we move it?" And he moved it for me, bro.
Wow.
Yeah,
Vince being
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But
funny in this.
don't you find that odd, bro? That both of those they were both, alpha males, no question about it. Don't you find it interesting like that they didn't have a favorite team or a favorite like I find that so freaking bizarre. I mean, bro, never any talk of sports.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very weird. Like every day, I probably talk to somebody about sports, and
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody I do my podcast with, Stevie Ray, like all he talks about is the Steelers.
yep,
There's always like at least one team. You know what I
yep,
mean? Nothing with them, bro.
they are weirdos. There's no
Yeah,
doubt
yeah.
about
It
that.
is. It is.
And it's funny here in '99, you're teasing as far as Backlash, Shane and Vince having this dissension. Vince is like, "You're not my father anymore." Obviously, it'll eventually be a swerve, bro. But right here, you're teasing Shane is kind of the leader of the corporation. Vince is kind of turning babyface. He's very, lovey-dovey, daddy daughter stuff with Stephanie. What's the thought behind this? Is this it's
That's,
just all because it's
that's
going to be a swerve?
That's well, first of all, that's real life behind the scenes, bro. That really was bro, I worked, all the big shots sat on the second floor. Okay, bro. And if you had an office close to Vince, like Bruce or JR, you're a big shot, bro. I didn't ever want to have anything to do with that shit. I'm not into that stuff. So my office was actually on the fourth floor. And bro, this is when social media and all this stuff was starting to develop, and Shane was in control of all that. That was Shane's department, and Shane was 2 doors down from me. So like I would see Shane, many many times and have many many discussions with him on a daily basis. But man, bro, there were a lot of similarities in Shane and Dixie Carter. Because, bro, they were both working their asses off because they had something to prove to their fathers. And that was Shane, bro. And I'm telling you, like, I saw it firsthand. No matter what he did, it was never good enough. It was never good enough. But my God, Stephanie was the golden child. The relationship between Vince and those two were so dramatically different. But, and Dixie was the same way, bro, because her father was a millionaire in the energy business, and her brother was her dad's right hand man. So Dixie was always, look at me over here, dad. Look at me over here. Look what I'm doing. Like, that's what really drove her. And Shane was like the same exact way. So, bro, there was a lot of that stuff really going on behind the scenes.
So it played off in real life for a little bit here on TV.
Absolutely. Not, bro, a little bit. I guarantee you it plays off in life to
Mm.
this day. I guarantee you to this day. Bro, I really, really doubt if Vince and Shane even speak to each other. I mean, I really doubt that. I'll never forget, bro. I left the WWE because of the comment about get a nanny to hire my kids.
Right.
Years later, bro, I had a phone conversation with Shane. And I said, bro, do you know why I left? And he said, yeah, my father told me WCW paid you more money. And I said, Shane, that's bullshit. I said, that had nothing to do with anything. I said, I left because your father told me to hire a nanny to watch my kids. And bro, there was a long pause. And Shane turned around and said to me, Vince, he goes, that doesn't surprise me. He's that way with my own kids. And I was like, holy shit. So, bro, with everything with the lawsuit and Janelle Grant and all this, and Shane leaving and starting a company in Japan and whatever, I would say it's 75-25 that they don't even have a speaking relationship.
So as far as this show and Backlash with him, he makes himself the special guest referee. But the build up to this, I actually think the build up to this feud, as far as or this pay per view with Austin Rock feud, I actually like it almost better than the build up to Mania. Although build up to Mania is great, but it's just so funny because Rock, okay, he wants his rematch. He wants Austin, so he that brings him to the bridge, which is great. Beats up Austin, throws him off the bridge, and then he says, "You piece of trash." And he takes the Smoking Skull belt and he pretends, well, not pretends, you think it's a Smoking Skull belt. It's a little bit of a swerve there, but he throws the belt off the bridge too. And he's like, "Take that, you piece of trash." So where's the idea behind this? Because this was so good. And it was like, wait, what the hell? Because years earlier, obviously, you did it with the IC title and Rock and Austin, but they go back to the bridge. And this time, Rock actually throws Austin off the bridge.
Yeah.
What is the mindset here? And is this all your creative? Because this is a great idea.
Yeah, bro, that's the whole thing, John. I always started with outside of the box. What haven't we seen before? That's where I always started, not repeating shit that we've seen a million times before. Bro, I can't tell you, when Ed and I would write together, bro, as soon as we started going down a road where we knew you saw it already, whether it was Dusty and Flair, it doesn't matter. If we knew as wrestling fans, bro, this has been done, they saw this already, we would freaking scrap it. And we would constantly, bro, be trying to come up with things that you never saw before. And that's why, bro, you can criticize me all you want of some of those things not working. I know as a fan and as a viewer, I'd rather watch things that I never saw before that don't work than just watch the same old shit get repeated over and over and over again. And that's how we were, bro. I mean, we started with like, okay, what haven't they seen before?
I like just that aspect of it because it's very creative. It's very different. Who's actually there when like you're filming this? Like, are you there? Who's producing
Oh
this? And
God, yeah, bro. This one, what was this, like February-ish? What month is this?
April of '99.
Bro, I don't remember which bridge scene it was. I don't remember if it was this one or the other one. But yes, we're there. I mean, me and Ed are the producers for this. We're there. And I remember, bro, the other bridge scene, what month was that? Do you remember?
Ooh, had to be in cold weather. I thought it
Okay.
was somewhere like in
Yeah.
the winter time.
Yeah, bro, there was one where it was like way below freezing. And bro, I'll never forget it because Stephanie came with us on that one. And bro, every like 3 minutes, Ed and I were trying to go back into the car to cuddle for warmth because it was so effing cold. And bro, Stephanie was out there the whole time. And like me and Ed are looking at her like, bro, we cannot be in here like two freaking pussies when
Yeah.
Stephanie's, out there. Like, but that's why I'll never forget that. But oh yeah, bro, these are not being done without us. And that's the thing, too, John, like all this shit is done after the show. So you think about it, man. We just did a complete show. We probably started the day at about 10 o'clock in the morning. We are well into midnight, 1 in the morning now, and we're still shooting. We always went the extra step. And again, bro, that shit does not happen today, man.
Was Vince there on the
Yeah.
shooting?
Yeah, he
Oh,
was.
he is there.
Oh yeah, bro. If guys like that are involved, if it's the top story, Vince is going to be there. Absolutely. If it's mid card underneath guys, Vince ain't going to be there. But if it's Rock and Austin, Vince is going to be there.
So is there like a stunt coordinator or somebody
Oh,
who does the stunts there?
absolutely.
Because Austin has to obviously you have to drop that fake body in the water too.
Absolutely, 1000%, bro. Bro, see, that was the beauty of writing. That's why people they don't freaking understand, bro. And like they're so freaking clueless. Bro, the beauty, and I think we've spoke about this, John. The beauty of me writing for the WWE, and everybody says, "Oh, bro, his only success was with Vince McMahon." Bro, the beauty of writing for the WWE was you could write anything, John, and it would get done. When I was working for WCW and TNA, and I'm sitting down and I'm writing, there are two things restricting me. Number one, they don't have the resources or the talent to pull it off. And I'm talking about, stunt coordinators and stuff. They don't have that. Those people did not exist. When I drew something up in my head, I would sit there and never put it on paper because they would never be able to pull it off. Okay. And especially with TNA, everything was money, bro. Everything was money. Like the things that I would have wanted to do, they just couldn't afford. So, like as I'm writing the show, WCW, I'm kind of inhibited by they don't have the resources and the people they need to make this look like WWE. And with TNA, it was like the budget. It was the money. We don't have the money to do this. That was the best part, bro, of writing for the WWE, bro. There were no restrictions. You want a rocket launcher, they're going to get you a rocket launcher. You want to throw Austin off the bridge, you're throwing Austin off the bridge. You want to have the Inferno match, you couldn't write that shit with the other companies I worked for, bro. No way they would have been able to pull that off. Everybody saw the electrified cage at TNA. Like, are you freaking kidding me, bro? They weren't capable of doing that stuff.
Here, obviously, Rock throws him off the bridge. It's great. You're like, what the hell? You didn't expect to see that. Oh my God, Austin's the bridge. Then he takes the belt. He says, here's your belt going with it, you piece of trash. And he throws the belt. So you think, what the hell happened to Austin? What the hell happened to that Smoking Skull belt, which is a great belt? Rock comes out the next week. He's wearing that suit. He's doing the funeral of Steve Austin, which is awesome. And then he revealed that he still had the belt, that he was going to bury the belt with Steve Austin, and he didn't get rid of it as of yet. So another little funny little swerve that he didn't actually get rid of the belt, and that he was going to have this funeral for Steve Austin. So like Rock at this point, I mean, he's on fire. He's just so good.
Bro, it's so interesting, John, because, I do the Attitude Era show every 2 weeks on Russo's brand. And bro, do you know, like, bro, I always say, bro, the key to good writing is to stay true to the character. What would the character do in these situations? Bro, do you know how Rock became a babyface?
No.
Bro, I forgot. And I'm just watching it now. Bro, Rock became a babyface because Taker and Kane just came together. And they were laying out everybody. Remember, they would just go down to the ring. They didn't give a shit who, and they were laying out anybody.
Yep.
Rock, who was a heel at the time, was the only one that stood up to Kane. And that's how he started turning babyface, because Kane was, laying out everybody. Everybody was scared to death of these two guys, but Kane jumped Rock. And then Rock went out there the next week, you big red piece of trash, That's what turned the bit. But that's what the Rock character would have done. That's where they missed the boat today, bro. They go into that babyface heel mode when, if Rock were a heel, he would have ran away like everybody else. But that wasn't who the Rock's character was.
Nice. Like that.
Yeah.
With this, too, with the funeral, Austin isn't dead like Rock thinks he is. He isn't, in the East River, if you will. He comes out in the back as he's watching the monitor, and he sees he's got this monster truck. Austin asks, like, "Hey, is that the Rock's car?" And he's got this brand new Lincoln Continental that he's showing off.
Yeah.
So Austin comes and destroys with the monster truck.
That's what I mean. There's no budget. There's no
Yeah.
budget, bro. That you think I could have done that in freaking TNA, bro? I remember when we were in TNA. Remember we had Tara Victoria from the.
Yep.
She had that spider, okay, bro. And when she used to beat somebody, she used to put the spider on top of the person. Well, bro, we had to pay the handler for the spider like $100 a show. Bro, we had to get rid of the spider because we couldn't afford to pay the handler anymore.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, so people don't understand that shit. At WWE, you could write we need a sports car to fill with cement. No freaking problem, bro. That's why I loved writing there.
And it's so good too because he destroys the car, obviously, and he must have like either know how to drive a monster truck or they teach him earlier in the day, right? Like how to drive the monster because it's him driving it. I mean,
Is it
he
really?
yeah,
Yeah,
you could
yeah,
see. I mean, they show the camera. I mean, he's driving, he destroys it. Then he makes his way into the arena. Remember, they had the hearse there with like the buried alive set with
yeah, 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 yeah,
with
yeah.
the hole. He's going to bury his career. He's got the dirt. Well, he even drove over the hearse too when he was in there, so he
Oh my
destroys the
God.
hearse as well with the monster truck.
That's crazy. And then you wonder how the guy was over so huge.
So then he says, I'm getting that belt back. I want that belt back. I'm the real champion." And Rock is horrified.
Yeah.
Austin kicks his ass, beats the shit out of him, then throws him in the buried alive in the set, and then from behind, Shane McMahon nails him with the shovel, and the shovel obviously breaks. He nails Austin from behind. He says, "I'm the referee of this match." So basically gives the Smoke and Skull title back to The Rock. And they don't bury it yet, but the whole thing is, wow, how is Austin going to win if Shane McMahon's the ref? There's no way he could win,
That's
obviously.
it,
So you're
man.
building that up that
Yep.
way.
Just like I'm watching right now, bro. I'm watching right now where Vince got screwed at SummerSlam because it was Austin and Taker did not want Kane's help.
Yep.
And then Vince comes right back and says, "Okay, bro, well now it's going to be a three-way." And not only did he say now it's going to be Austin, Kane, and Taker, he also said, and here are the rules and the stipulations. Taker, you can't pin your brother. And
Yep.
Kane, you can't. The only way you win this match is because now you're like, how the frig are they going to get out of this? Bro, that's my favorite writing because now you're kind of looking at it from a booking perspective. Like, how are they going to get out of this one? That's how we wrote things, bro,
I like it.
Yeah.
So basically, obviously, that's the big push for this pay-per-view. That's the big main event. Also teasing this higher power. We don't know who it is, but Undertaker keeps teasing the higher power. Was it always going to be Vince, or did you
Nah,
have other
yeah,
guys in mind?
bro, it was supposed to be Christopher Daniels because he was big as the fallen angel at that. But the story is, bro, that Vince had no idea who Chris Daniels was. I knew that he was really hot on the indie circuit. And he had a good look and shit like that. And the first time Vince saw Daniels, because he had no idea who he was, he said, "Forget it."
Yeah, and he was down there in the Funkin' Dojo with Dr. Tom and Dory
Yeah,
Funk.
he said, no, Vince, no. And that's when we had to switch at the last minute, and it was Vince.
Well, so Vince really was going to be a babyface.
No, the higher power, he was the heel with Taker you're talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, like Vince, if that didn't happen, Vince would have
Oh,
maintained.
yeah,
He would have been a babyface.
I'm sure he would have been, bro, because that was the plan. And like I said, Vince saw him and was like, "No, bro, no." And that's when we had to make that change at the last minute.
It's funny. I mean, that this is later on, but it's funny that when I remember being a fan and just reading that stuff online. I mean, this is the early days of the internet. They're saying it's definitely Jake the Snake
Never
Roberts. You
was.
guys
Never.
got Shane
Bro,
Douglas, like all this different rumors.
bro, see that this is again what people don't understand. Of course, bro, Jake would have been a great and obvious choice.
Yeah.
But bro, Jake's last days at the WWE when he was an agent, whatever his role was, oh my God, bro, he was a drunken mess. Bro, I remember going into arenas and checking in at the hotel. Bro, he was laid out and out of it on the couches in the lobby. Like, I'll never forget that. So coming off of that, no way Vince was ever bringing him back. So bro, that was never even discussed. But again, those are the things people don't understand, because obviously, bro, that would have been a no-brainer. Obviously.
Yep, and let's just do the quick heat results before the show. Val Venus and Nicole Bass defeated D'Lo Brown and Ivory in a mixed tag match, 1 minute 45 seconds. The second match from Heat, Prince Albert and Draws defeated Too Much, Scott Taylor and Brian Christopher in 1 minute 10 seconds. Kane defeated Big Boss Man with Test, 2 minutes 45 seconds. And the final match from Sunday Night Heat, Viscera defeats Test with Boss Man in about 2 minutes 10 seconds.
God,
So
bro, when
then,
you think about that, because we take so much for granted, man, how crazy is it that they're doing an entire show before the pay-per-view? This is the same day, right?
yeah,
That's
yep,
that's
1 hour Sunday Night Heat, yep, before the
that's
show.
that's unbelievable, bro. Like that really is unbelievable. Yeah,
So you're getting, if you're going to watch, you're getting 4 hours of wrestling, 3 hours
yeah.
from the pay per view, and an hour of Sunday Night Heat.
And the whole idea of Sunday Night Heat was to sell the pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely. So the first match up, the Ministry of Darkness, Farouk, Bradshaw, and Midian versus the Brood, Gangrel, Edge, and Christian in a 6-man tag. The match goes 11 minutes, 30 seconds. The Ministry of Darkness, Midian, Bradshaw, and Farouk get the win. Bradshaw gives Christian a huge clothesline from hell. I mean, a
Mm,
brutal
yeah.
clothesline from hell for the victory, thanks to a little bit of help from Viscera. Do you like the Brood here? Because they were basically heels, but then Undertaker kind of turns on them when they don't do his bidding or don't kind of come to the fruition of exactly what he wanted them to do. They kind of end up turning babyface. Do you like the Brood better as babyfaces or heels?
Bro, they're gonna be over as baby faces because they're cool. It's cool. Like I mean, bro, first of all, vampires are cool. Okay. Second of all, Edge, was very, very cool. The entrance was cool.
Yeah.
They're going to be over, bro. You could start them off as heels, but they're going to be over because they're cool.
Now, obviously, Ministry is getting a big push. The higher power Undertaker with this new kind of cool gimmick. He's got all these minions. He's got these followers, the acolytes, Viscera, Midian, all these guys. Is it important for them to get the win here? Like, do you want to keep the Ministry as strong as possible?
I think so, bro, because bro, the Ministry was really a lot of guys that we weren't doing anything with. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And also, bro, they were guys, they had to be friends with the Taker. With Taker. I mean, Taker had a lot to do with who's in the group. So a lot of guys that were close to Taker, bro, weren't necessarily main eventers. So these were a lot of guys, bro, that like really weren't over. We really didn't have anything else, for them to do. So it was very, very important to give them credibility.
Yeah, Bradshaw gets the pin here. Then later on, we'll talk about that, but he kind of gets involved a little bit with Shamrock. Was Bradshaw supposed to maybe break apart and maybe get a bit of a push here? Because it seems like he was more of a focus as far as some of the guys, other guys in the ministry. He seems to be, besides Taker, the guy you might be pushing a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think at that point we were, bro. I really don't think at that point we were. I think that was probably just by chance. But yeah, there were no discussions that, he was going to be the breakout guy.
So the next match up, your good longtime close personal friend Al Snow with Head versus Hardcore Holly, who's the Hardcore Champion. Of course, this match is for the WWF Hardcore Championship. Al Snow, for some reason, really wanted to be Hardcore Champion. It meant a lot to him. He was kind of obsessed with it. This match actually goes 15
Oh
minutes
my
long for a
God.
hardcore match, so it's a long match.
Yeah.
There's blood in the first few minutes. Al Snow, it's bleeding pretty quickly into the match. They're fighting outside the building, all over the place. Lawler has a funny line when Hardcore Holly in the outside of the building throws Al Snow in trash. He said, "Yeah, Al Snow really is white trash." So I thought that was a nice little line
Yeah. Yeah.
at a nice little dig from Lawler to Snow. The crowd gets a little restless when you guys are fighting outside in the
Yeah.
back and the loading dock. You
That's
could,
always hard.
so they were kind of, and obviously this
Yeah.
attitude that we're crowd. I mean, they're getting a little angry
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
getting restless. So then they make their way back out to the arena. It does seem like that sometimes was a problem when you guys would go to the back.
Always,
The
always
crowd would get pissed.
A lot of times it was a problem, bro, when you would try to do stuff that wasn't on site. Yeah, I remember the back set Hollywood match with Goldust and Piper.
Yep.
Yeah, bro, that was always an issue. But that's the thing, bro. Like, we were very aware of that. Like, we knew, bro, you can only do that for so long. Then they got to come back in. Like, it's shit like that, bro. Like, when stuff happens backstage at AEW, I don't think Tony Khan even has a clue about stuff like that. But what you're saying, John, is absolutely true. But we were absolutely aware of that.
So the match actually, it is pretty good. Al Snow does get the win. He does become the new hardcore champion, but it's interesting. He has head in his hand. He hits Hardcore Holly with it. Then he pins him with the right hand, which is holding head. 1, 2, 3.
So Head's going to claim to be the champion.
So they interview him later on. And he's sitting in the bathroom right next to the bathroom stall there, and he's happy that he won until Head brings up to him that he's the champion. And it's funny. Al Snow calls Michael Cole Todd, like Todd Pettengill. He goes,
Yeah,
Todd,
yeah.
excuse me, we're having a personal conversation here. This guy thinks he's the hardcore champion. I'm the hardcore champion.
That's freaking hysterical to me, bro. And bro, when you know your talent and you know the players, like, see, bro, one really bad thing with wrestling, bro, is, bro, you can't do comedy with everybody. You gotta know who can do comedy. And I've seen WWE try, like, bro, when oh my God, when Bailey did the "This Is Your Life" thing, bro, like, oh my God, you gotta know who can do comedy. And Al was the freaking best, bro.
As soon as that Head kind of got the win, and they didn't really mention it, but they're like, "Wow, he pinned him with Head." But they kind of then when they interviewed him back later, I was like, "Oh, I knew that the Head was going to argue with him that he won."
That's funny, man. That's great.
Long hardcore match, so 15
I'm
minutes.
sure
It
that
was
was a great match, though, bro.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was funny. The crowd got annoyed because they were outside. So when they came back, they were a little restless for sure.
I totally get that, man. Yep.
Next up, Intercontinental title match, Godfather, who's the new IC champ. He beat Goldust on Raw a few weeks earlier. Goldust gets his rematch here, and Goldust is with Blue Meanie. Interestingly enough, Meanie has a little promo beforehand. He really gets involved in the match quite a bit. So Meanie is a big part, and he keeps calling Goldust Mommy, which is another little funny, weird thing. Did you like the chemistry with Meanie?
I liked
and
it, bro, but like, see, this was the hard part, John. Like, when I knew Vince just wasn't a fan of somebody, Vince was not a fan of Blue Meanie. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, bro? And it really made things difficult because, like, I was a fan and I knew the guy was talented, but like, knowing that, bro, he's just not going to get over with Vince, that made it difficult, bro, because every time it came down to making a pitch, you know what I mean? I know Vince don't like that guy, and Vince doesn't see what I see. When we did the Blonde Bitch project, bro, that was probably the greatest thing never, ever seen on TV. Never, ever seen on TV. And I know it was a couple of things. It was, first of all, Vince McMahon had no idea of what the Blair Witch Project was. He had absolutely no idea. And number two, he wasn't fans of Stevie and Meanie. He wasn't fans of theirs. So that was probably, bro, the greatest piece of business that was never played. But yeah, bro, this was the challenge because bro, I'm sure it was his appearance. No question about that. Meanie was just never over to Vince.
Goldust loses here. Godfather gets the win in 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Kind of Meanie's fault a little bit because he got involved. But the crowd was super into it. They were super into Godfather. I mean, he was over big. They kept loving that Meanie kept screwing up, and he tried to interfere, screws up. Goldust kicks him in the balls, and then he headbutts Goldust in the balls at one point by accident. So the crowd was into it, and it was getting over. But the Blonde Bitch, that was just a parody of Blair Witch that Vince
and it was
hated.
awesome, bro. It was freaking hysterical. And I remember, bro, we had to show Vince. And of course, the first question is, bro, keep in mind, I don't know if you remember this or not, John. Before the Blair Witch Project came out, bro, they did this whole campaign on social media where you didn't know if this thing was a work or a shoot.
Yep.
Everybody was talking about like that. I that was like one of the first times they ever did something like this. And that's what really drove people to see it.
Yep.
So the thing was red hot at the time. So we bring this to Vince, and the first question, what is this? Vince, this is a parody of the Blair Witch Project. I don't know what that is. I had to explain the whole thing to Vince.
Yep.
Then we play it for him, bro, and he turns around and he says, Vince, nobody's going to go see that movie. We're not doing this. And it was just one of those things, bro, where there were so many things like that where he just didn't have a clue. And then, bro, the movie was so hot that I think a couple of days later in the paper, somehow, some way, it was the Daily News or the Post, they found out we shot this stuff. And they even promoted, oh, this is so popular. WWE even did a parody of it that never, ever aired because Vince McMahon had no idea what it was.
That was hot at the time. I remember I saw the movies because I thought it might be
Yep.
real because I never heard of those actors or whatever.
We
They
didn't
were
know. Yeah,
unknowns. Yeah.
bro. It was a big deal. They did it so freaking well. I knew it was going to be hot, and he didn't get it.
He didn't get it. Next up is a tag team match to determine the number one contenders for the WWF Tag Team Championships. It's the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, versus Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett with Deborah, who look like more than $1 million at this point. My God, she looked great. But why are the Outlaws back together? I mean, they were doing singles for most of the beginning of 1999. Then here they're back together. Why put the Outlaws back together?
Is that me? I bet you it's because Billy wasn't getting over the way we really wanted him to get over. That was probably it, where he really, really needed Road Dogg for them to be to their full potential. And I'm not talking about as a wrestler or a performer. I am talking 100% personality.
Man, Outlaws were over huge
Yeah.
in this tag. I mean, they were super over. So obviously the crowd was fine with them getting back together, and they were
Yeah.
very happy that they got
Yeah.
back together.
Yeah, bro. See, that's the thing, man. When a guy has like a weakness, like that, and I think Billy has gotten so much better on the mic. Like over the years, he's gotten so much better. But man, when there's a weakness like that, like it's always gonna hold you back. I mean, that was the thing, bro. And obviously, I am responsible for this, and I have no problem taking responsibility. That was the problem with Bart Gunn, winning the Brawl for All. I mean, he knocked everybody out and he was impressive, and nobody planned on that, and nobody thought that was going to happen. But even doing all of that, after doing all of that, bro, he was still the guy that couldn't cut a promo.
Right.
So now you're going to put him in there with an Austin. You're going to put him in there with top guys, and what? He's going to go toe to toe with them on the mic. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you just didn't have that part of it, you could teach and produce guys all day long. Some of them are going to get it, some of them aren't.
Next up, we have obviously the Outlaws. The Outlaws win and become the number one contenders to the tag team titles. There, good match, I thought, but obviously the Outlaws win, and they'll be the number one contenders for the tag titles. And tag team champions are X-Pac and Kane. So very interesting pairing there
Yeah,
at that
very
point.
interesting. Very interesting.
Then we have the Boiler Room Brawl. Mankind defeats the Big Show in about 7 minutes, 40 seconds. Good match. Obviously, this isn't the Boiler Room, so this is all behind the scenes. This is
Yeah.
all backstage.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy match, crazy. Big Show's blading. I mean, he's bleeding. Foley's got blood all over him. Crazy match. The thing is, you have to escape the Boiler Room. So kind of a safe way after Foley knocks 10,000 pipes all over Big Show. He can't get up, and he escapes the Boiler Room. Kind of, I guess, a good way to keep Show healthy here, or make sure it doesn't look too bad in the loss. But Mankind gets the win. Whose idea is this Boiler Room Brawl? Because this is obviously a throwback to SummerSlam '96 with Mankind and Undertaker.
It's me and Ed, bro. Boiler Room was a great. See, bro, that's the thing, man. When Mankind was developed before I was writing, and I had no understanding of what this character was supposed to be. I think Cornette was producing a lot of them at the beginning because Cornette and Mick were, on the indie scene, Cactus and all that. I had no idea what this meant. It was very reminiscent, bro, of when I started joining TNA. When I first joined TNA, they had like Abyss like underneath the arena steps or something, and that's where he kind of lived. And I came in and I asked the question, like, why is he living under there? You got to tell me why. You got to explain this to me. And it was the same thing like with Mick. I don't understand the Mankind character. But then, bro, when you start, okay, bro, like he's a loner and he's crazy and he's dangerous and you never know what he's gonna do. And obviously, bro, the guy's not gonna change in the locker room with the other wrestlers. He kind of hangs out in the boiler rooms of these buildings. Well, now, bro, it just adds a whole new dimension to the character, and you kind of now have that boiler room as an element. Whereas, bro, you want to go get him, you want to go get the belt, whatever you want to do, you're going to have to go to the boiler room and get him. I mean, so it just adds levels to something that just doesn't make a lot of sense.
So Foley escapes, then Boss Man and Test beat them up or try to beat them up afterwards. Big Show actually chases off the Big Boss Man, and Mankind beats up Test. And then later on, they show Big Show, they said he dislocated his hand, and he's like, saying it's hurt, but he's just like, I don't care, let's just get this over with. And they're trying to stitch up his head. So really trying to get him over as a babyface. And then Mankind says, I don't want to fight that guy again. So it seems like at least maybe trying to get him over as this big babyface.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I don't remember that, but that's what it sounds like.
So then we have Triple H with China versus X-Pac. Triple H does get the victory. The match goes 19 minutes, 20 seconds. So a long match, but a very good match, though. I really thought that was a hell of a match. Interesting thing enough is X-Pac and Kane obviously are the tag team champions. So they're not on the show defending the tag titles, but X-Pac's fighting separately. China gets involved and tries to cheat in the match after a ref bump. Kane comes down, beats up Triple H, gives him a chokeslam, beats up China, gives her a chokeslam, sets up China and Triple H in separate corners for a Bronco Buster. X-Pac, but for some reason, Kane then leaves. Like his job is done. He leaves. He's not making sure X-Pac wins. He's just done. He beats them up, and that's his job. He set them up. Here you go, X-Pac. You finish it off. X-Pac goes to beat up China. He turns around. Triple H is back up. Low blow, pedigree, gets the win. Triple H wins, obviously, in 19 minutes. But interesting, Kane helps him, but doesn't really help him get the win. Helps him, but doesn't help him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Kane would have thought the damage was done, and now
Right.
it's just and obviously it didn't happen that way, which is a good little swerve because you're thinking it is going to happen that
Yes.
way. So I think that is a good little swerve at the end to have him leave, thinking the damage is done and all X-Pac needs to do is get the cover. So I think that's a good little swerve at the end there.
And you got to keep Triple H strong because he just
Yeah.
turned heel, right? You're trying to give him a big push.
And the low blow is him being a heel.
Oh yeah, I mean him and China cheating the whole match and this and that. I mean they were big time cheating, but he's getting the push, right? He can't take a loss there.
No, not at this point.
Plus X-Pac is tag champ, doesn't really hurt him.
Yeah, exactly, John. All that stuff, exactly.
Next up, we have The Undertaker with Paul Bearer versus Ken Shamrock. This match goes about 19 minutes, believe it or not. The crowd, I don't know, the crowd was pretty flat for this one. It wasn't as good or as maybe as crisp as you would think, but there is some really good moments. I feel like it gets really good at the end. Shamrock is pretty good. I don't know. Taker looked a little bit off here. Maybe he couldn't hang. Maybe he gassed out a little bit from trying to hang with Shamrock. Shamrock's bouncing all over the place. But it just, I don't know, it felt a little flat here. A decent match. Nothing bad, but nothing great either. Undertaker gets the win with the tombstone in 19 minutes. Excuse me. Paul Bearer tries to interfere. He gets beat up. Bradshaw tries to interfere. He gets beat up. And this whole match is kind of predicated on Shamrock turning babyface, Undertaker in the ministry, crucifying, quote unquote, Ryan Shamrock. So I mean, it does have a build to it, but for some reason the crowd just felt a little flat. It felt like it could have been better. I feel like they've had better matches before these two. So
Yeah.
Undertaker does get the win, but it was a little flat.
Why do you think the fans were fine? Do you think they could have been tired at this point, or
I don't know.
what was the match missing? You think?
I don't know. It's weird because they were into the Triple H match. They were really into the Outlaws. They're really into Godfather. So I don't know. For some reason, it just felt a little flat. Maybe that Shamrock was just recently a heel and just turned babyface, so they felt like there wasn't really anybody to cheer for. Maybe that was the only thing I could think
Did
of.
they have a good chemistry?
Towards the end of the match, I feel like it was better. It was weird. There was some spots in the match, like Ken Shamrock for some reason doesn't kick out, but just kind of goes like this, and Earl says it's a kick out. Undertaker does the same thing. I don't know. It was like a little wonky at times. It was interesting.
I got to go back and watch that, bro. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that in a long time. I got to go back and watch and try to, see if I could figure out why.
The only thing I could think of was that Shamrock was just a heel and he just
Yeah.
turned face, so they weren't really cheering him
Yeah,
enough.
that's possible. But yeah, no excuses, bro. I would love to go back and see what it looked like.
So after the match, Bradshaw chokes out Shamrock, who already lost with a baseball bat. So and they were kind of teasing this on Raw too with the bat and Shamrock and Bradshaw. So was that going to be something? Because it doesn't really build to anything really as far as them having like this big feud. But was that something that was on your mind? Because why does Bradshaw need to beat him up afterwards? He already just lost.
I don't know, bro. Unless it was one of the agents, unless it was a Pat or something trying to make Bradshaw look strong, then, and I didn't even know
Yeah.
what was going on. You know what I mean? I mean, that's very quite possible, bro, because I don't remember that specifically.
So Undertaker gets a win with the tombstone, and then we're up with the main event of the evening. We talked about Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock before. This is a no holds barred match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship with Shane McMahon as the guest referee. They announced on Sunday Night
Oh,
Heat
bro,
that this match would be no
that's
DQ.
really weird because there is a lot of no holds barred matches on this card. I'm surprised there's so many. You got the Boiler Room.
Yep.
Then you got Al Snow, and then you got this. I mean,
Yep.
wow, that's a lot. I'm surprised at that.
Too much?
Yeah, too much. Yep.
So I guess you kind of had to raise the stakes, though, just to kind of make it seem like if Shane's the ref and there's no holds barred, The Rock's going to win the title back. And
Yeah. Well, bro, the thing is, so Vince still has this feud going on with Austin, correct?
yes, but it's interesting. He's kind of a babyface here because he says that him and Shane are no longer father and son, or Shane says he's no longer father and son with him. So it's interesting. They're kind of teasing here that Vince might actually help Steve Austin in this, and towards the end of the match, he kind of does. So they're kind of teasing Vince as a babyface, and Shane is the leader of the corporation here as the big heel.
But it is a swerve at the end, right?
Next pay-per-view
Yeah.
or the next few weeks leading
The
into this.
bottom line is though, bro, whether it's Shane or whether it's Vince, if they're if they're still plotting against Steve Austin, it's like there can be no rules. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like they want to beat Austin at any expense. They don't. Yeah. So I totally understand that. You're not going to have rules when you want to beat a guy because you're going to want to cheat and do whatever you have to do to beat the guy. So like no holes barred and all that shit. I totally understand that.
So this is a great match, crazy brawl, hot crowd. I mean, they're super hot at this point. So they were a little bit, lustered for maybe they were getting their wind back or they're getting back into it because they were really into this main event. They actually destroyed the set. Like they
See,
beat
now the match before was Taker
Taker
and
Shamrock.
see maybe they were kind of looking past that match for this one. I mean that's a possibility, John. I don't know.
Possibly because they were loving this. I mean, they destroyed the set. The crowd was going crazy. The Rock pretends he's a Spanish announcer after the Rock bottoms Steve Austin through the table. He puts it on and he starts saying a little bit of Spanish and he starts trash talking. Then Shane's kind of getting involved and he's cheating. The Rock, then they go to the other table. They destroyed the Spanish announce table. Now they go to JR and Lawler's table and he puts the camera on. Remember, he's filming. He goes, "You're white trash," and then he's filming the crowd. And then all of a sudden he comes back and Austin is in his shot and he gives him the middle finger. Stunner. So one of the best like
Well,
spots that
you
you could
you
think
you
of.
got you got to remember, man. You got to remember. I would love to say, bro. I would. Oh yeah, John, I wrote that and this, bro. All that shit's ad libbed by
Yeah,
freaking Rock.
so good
All of
by
it,
them.
one
Yeah.
thousand percent. And bro, that's what I'm talking about. Like, bro, who could do that today? You
It's
know what
awesome
I'm
too because he's
saying?
filming the crowd. He's like, "Look at all this trailer
That's
park trash,"
what
and
I'm
then he
saying.
turns, and Austin is in his face with the finger.
Bro, people would be talent would be so afraid to do that today, like being afraid that it would be a fart in church. But that's the thing, man. Rock had so much confidence in himself that, bro, all that shit was him, man. It was all ad libbed. It was all him. And again, what talent in 2024 is going to do that, bro?
So good. Then he obviously takes the stunner and whatever, and then they go on with the match. But Shane is really trying to interfere now. They work back in the ring after those two great spots with the Rock Bottom and then the Stone Cold Stunner. Shane's cheating backfires because he hits the Rock by accident with the title belt. Then, of course, Austin chases Shane out, and Austin gives Rock the stunner. Shane 1, 2 gives Austin figure. I'm not counting 3. And he walks out of the ring. He goes, "I'm out of here." As he's walking to the back, Vince McMahon comes out with Earl Hebner as the referee, bumps into Shane. Shane goes, "What the hell? What are you doing here with the referee? I'm the referee of this match." He then basically goads Vince into hitting him. Vince hits him with the smoking skull belt, and he nails Shane. So Vince sends Earl Hebner into the ring. At this point, The Rock is going back and forth with Austin. Eventually, Stone Cold Stunner, Austin gets Rock back up, hits him with the belt. 1, 2, 3 by Earl Hebner making the count, and Stone Cold Steve Austin defeats The Rock to retain the title. Match goes 17 minutes, but awesome match, great stuff.
Oh,
But it's
bro.
interesting too. Vince then returns the Smoking Skull belt to Austin after the match. They're really teasing that Austin is the man, he's the champ, but they're teasing that Vince is a babyface.
Like
Crazy.
kind of Vince is giving if you kind of like if you can't beat him, join him. Like Vince is kind of giving up
And he's
that.
so upset with Shane. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, bro. That's great stuff, man. I mean, bro, it's just so funny because a lot of times, like I said, I do the Attitude Era review show. Bro, a lot of it like I forgot. And like it was so cool, bro, because Rock's getting booed, Rock's getting booed, Rock's getting booed, and all of a sudden he's calling Kane, "You big red piece of trash." And now the fans, it's just so cool to see that stuff like that play out, man. And again, bro, that's just my frustration with today's product, man. It's match after match after match after match, and it could just be so much more.
So, what do you think overall of the show? Because it's pretty good. I feel like the ending, the best match, is the main event. Austin Rock is awesome, and it's so interesting because like, where does Vince lie on this one? He hates Shane, he hates Austin, but he showed him respect by giving back the title. Where's the Rock? Where does that leave him with the corporation? So a lot of interesting intrigue. Do you like kind of where this was headed creatively?
Oh yeah, bro. If you have to continue to ask questions, people are going to continue to watch. And I mean that is the key. It's like John, when you start binge watching something on Netflix, okay, bro, and the episode is over and it's freaking 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, "Oh shit, I got to go to work tomorrow, but I got to watch this next episode."
Yep.
The writers are doing their job.
Yep.
That I applaud that every time. That has happened to me, bro, so many times with these mini series, bro, where it's freaking 2 in the morning. And I'm like, bro, I am dead exhausted. I got to see what happens.
Yep.
When that is happening, the writers are doing their job.
Awesome stuff. Just another little interesting question I had for you, just as far as rumors. There was a rumor at one point that Shawn Michaels was going to return here. So a year later, after basically he's been gone, he was supposed to fight Triple H here, basically because Triple H kind of turned on him, and obviously Michaels is the babyface. He's the commissioner at this point. Is that true or false? Was Michaels versus Triple H ever on the card for this? Because Michaels hasn't returned until 2002.
I don't think so, bro. I don't.
Not true.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember that at all, bro. I don't think that's true.
So it's like Jake the Snake Roberts
Yes,
as the
that
higher
was not.
power, just one of
That
the
was
just a
yeah.
rumor.
And that was not true. And like I said, bro, I'm telling you why it was not true. Vince was not going to rehire Jake. Enough time hadn't passed for Vince to get over it. That was not going to happen.
I know we've talked about this before, but though, what was kind of the thought process on Michaels as a heel as the commissioner? Because remember, he does turn babyface. Was that him being a heel as commissioner? Was that just a little bit of something to do with him before maybe he was going to have a swerve and turn babyface, or was there any thought into him being the commissioner as a heel?
I don't think it was really him being the commissioner as a heel, bro. I think it was him being a commissioner as kind of Shawn Michaels the prick. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think, again, John, a lot of this is really staying true to character. You know what I'm saying? And if Shawn Michaels is a prick as a wrestler, then he's going to be a prick as a commissioner unless something changes in the circumstances to make him a babyface. So, again, I think that was just staying true to his character.
Very interesting. So obviously, Backlash here. Austin's the champ. The crowd is very happy, and they go home happy. So good show, good pay-per-view, and interesting kind of where they go forward because the ending shot of the show is Austin at the title, but before they go and they show Stephanie being abducted in the limo by the Undertaker. So
Unbelievable. Unreal. At the end of this pay-per-view, that's what you're seeing.
yes,
That's
yep.
crazy, bro. Would they ever dream of doing something like that today, bro? Unbelievable.
Cliffhanger, bro, as you would say, cliffhanger,
That's
bro.
great. That's
Yeah.
great. I love that. Love it, love it, love it.
So then they go back to the ring. They show Vince, and he's just staring in the ring at Austin. And Lawler goes, "Somebody's got to tell Vince they abducted Stephanie." And he's got no clue. And Austin's drinking beer and everything else. So it's like, wait, what the hell? Like now I have to watch Raw. What the hell just happened?
Exactly,
Yeah.
man. That's it. This ain't freaking rocket science, bro. It's not.
So good stuff there. I like that. But let's head towards the finish here. You follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Vince, what do you got?
Yeah, guys, if you like this show, man, every 2 weeks I go back and I go in succession. I review an Attitude Era show. I tell you what was going on behind the scenes, why we did what we did. You can go to russosbrand.com, bro, and subscribe to the channel. You get a whole bunch of other shows, bro. But if you love these pay-per-view shows, you would love that one. Just go to russosbrand.com.
All right. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. We'll see you right back here next time. Have a good one, folks.